Hello and welcome back to the channel. This is stop number 4 on my 5-city trip, and this is the destination that I was most excited about, Ljubljana. To get here, I caught the Flixbus from Budapest, and as soon as the bus crossed the border into Slovenia, I immediately knew I was going to love this country. The scenery was absolutely breathtaking, with loads of tiny villages and towns nestled into the mountainside. And I just spent the rest of the journey gazing out of the window at all of the beautiful Slovenian landscape. I arrived in Ljubljana around 1 p.m. and checked into my accommodation, which was the Ibis Styles Fuzzy Log. I need to give this place a huge shout out because it was excellent value for money, super conveniently located, clean and quiet. I stayed in one of their pod rooms, which is kind of like a hostel, but with the added security and privacy of your own lockable space. And having stayed in pod type accommodation before, this was definitely my favourite to date. After checking in, it was a short 15-minute walk down to Ljubljana Old Town. The city is instantly charming. It's much smaller and feels more intimate than the capitals of Vienna and Budapest. And the Old Town is primarily Baroque and Art Nouveau in style, so it really does feel like you've stepped into the pages of a peaceful storybook. The heart of the city is the Ljubljana River, which is lined with charming cafes and a beautiful promenade. You can't miss the iconic Triple Bridge, which acts as the central hub connecting the historic town to the modern one. Nearby, the famous Dragon Bridge is one of the most recognisable sights, and the dragon is the official symbol of Ljubljana, representing courage and power. I spent a couple of hours just soaking in the atmosphere, wandering around and naturally doing a bit of retail therapy. I had a great time rummaging through several vintage clothing stores, particularly one called Relay of Youth. I also picked up some amazing presents from my dogs at Pika the Pet Baker. The colleague that was working there was so helpful with my dog's allergies and then even gave me some extra recommendations for my trip as well. Everybody that I spoke to in Slovenia was really nice and super friendly, honestly some of the friendliest people I've ever met. Everybody was asking why I was visiting, what I was getting up to. They all had recommendations for places for me to go as well. And honestly, it just really added to why I enjoyed being there so much and why I'm definitely going to go back one day. After shopping, I made my way up to the castle. I decided to walk up, and it was an incredibly steep climb, and I needed to sit down and have a breather when I did finally make it to the top. The entrance was €16, and that includes the viewing tower, the permanent Slovenian history exhibition, and the temporary exhibition halls. And at this time of day, the castle also wasn't too busy, which was an added bonus. The Ljubljana Castle is steeped in history, primarily dating back to the late medieval era, though its hilltop site has been fortified for thousands of years. It was used as a military barracks and even a prison before becoming a cultural monument. I really enjoyed exploring all of the different parts of the castle, and the chapel was particularly pretty. My ticket also included entrance to the Museum of Puppetry, and puppetry is a significant part of Slovenia's cultural heritage, and this museum does an excellent job of tracing the history of the theatre in the country, from traditional folk forms to modern stage productions. After the castle, I made my way back down to the Old Town. I was planning on finding a restaurant as I was on day 5 of my trip and hadn't had a proper sit-down meal yet, but Ljubljana absolutely comes alive at night. All the restaurants were super busy and I felt a little intimidated to eat by myself, so I did my usual trick and headed into the spa on my way back to the hotel. Still, the ambience of walking around the river at night was beautiful, and I did enjoy just people watching for a little while. The next morning got off to a very foggy start, but I didn't let that deter me from heading over to Pekarna Osem before it opened. This bakery makes everything fresh on site daily, and it's famous with both locals and tourists, so you do need to arrive early to avoid the queues. I timed it perfectly and there was only one other person in front of me, so I bought myself a cinnamon swirl and a croissant and found a quiet spot by the river to enjoy them whilst they were still warm. I then headed over to Dragon Bridge, which was the meeting point for my pre-booked tour. The group was small, made up of just 4 people, including myself, and our tour guide Milo assured us to not worry about the fog because it would clear as soon as we left Ljubljana. And I can confirm that he was correct, and before long the fog had disappeared and turned into beautiful blue skies. Our first stop of the day was a visit to Savica at Waterfall. Getting there is about a 30-minute hike on a moderate trail. It's a steady incline, but it is made of loose gravel and rocks, so you do need to be a little cautious. However, the views were absolutely breathtaking. This day trip was the sole reason I planned this holiday for October, because I specifically wanted to be here at the time of year when I could appreciate all of these stunning autumnal colours. After coming down from the waterfall, we drove over to Lake Bohinj. I cannot emphasise enough how stunning Bohinj is. This is the largest permanent natural lake in Slovenia, carved out by the Bohinj Glacier, and it is known for its incredible tranquility. The area itself is so peaceful, and it made a huge change from all of the busy, bustling cities I'd spent the past few days in. Right on the edge of the lake sits the beautiful Church of St. John the Baptist. This church is one of Slovenia's oldest medieval monuments, and it's famed for its beautiful frescoes and unique architecture, serving as a peaceful focal point for the whole valley. After exploring Bohinj, we stopped at Štrud'l Inn for some traditional Slovenian food. I had a very tasty and filling dish of sausage with sauerkraut, mashed potato and mustard. It was a lovely little family-owned restaurant with beautiful views of the surrounding mountains and gave us the fuel that we needed to carry on with our day of exploration and head over to Lake Bled. Bled is an iconic lake and is often called Slovenia's jewel. It's famous for its intense blue-green colour and stunning glacial origins. Myself and another member of the tour group decided that we wanted to head over to Bled Island, the only natural island in Slovenia. Our guide insisted that we skip the expensive water taxis and instead rented one of the smaller boats, which he kindly offered to row over to the island for us. The island is home to the famous Church of the Assumption, which is the site of the legendary wishing bell, where tradition says ringing it grants you a wish. I didn't go inside the church myself, although the other tour group member did, and she mentioned that she felt the €12 entrance fee was a little expensive considering how small the church is. I opted to spend €5 on some very tasty ice cream instead. Once we got back to the mainland, I took a walk around the lake edge to admire the picturesque views, particularly of Bled Castle. Perched dramatically on a cliff 130 metres above the lake, it is considered the oldest castle in Slovenia, first mentioned in historical documents way back in 1011. And that draws to an end my day in Lake Bled and also, unfortunately, my time in Ljubljana. But before I wrap up and tell you my final thoughts on Slovenia, it's time for the numbers. So this fantastic 2-day stop in Ljubljana came to a total of £260.85. Now that price does actually include quite a lot. The cost of my Flixbus was actually for 2 seats because I wanted to be able to spread out and have a nap after my really early departure. And as you can see, one of the most expensive parts was the day trip to the lake, but it was definitely worth every single penny, and I will be booking that trip again on my next visit to Ljubljana. Throughout this whole trip, I was so blown away by Slovenia. It truly is a breathtakingly beautiful country, and every single person I spoke to was super friendly and seemed genuinely happy that people were visiting and enjoying the city. I cannot recommend coming here enough, and I will absolutely be back to explore more of Slovenia in the future. If you enjoyed this serene and stunning stop in my European challenge, please like, comment and subscribe, because it honestly does make a huge difference and it means the world to me that people are enjoying my videos. And in my next video, I'm saying goodbye to the mountains of Slovenia and heading to the canals of Venice. So I'll see you there. Bye!